Hey guys, welcome back to TNT Creations. We're going to be back working on the 54 today, doing some finishing up, brakes, wiring, interior, a couple little things. But before we get started, we just wanted to give a big thank you to everybody who went through and watched the first video. Over 15,000 views and a little over 150 subscribers. So we really do appreciate you guys coming along for this journey throughout this car and all the cars to come. Starting out with the brakes, we're just going to see how lucky we can get. We're going to see if we can get this one line off. Let her kind of soak, and then we're just going to try to clean up the master cylinder the best we can. I highly doubt they really work, or the master cylinder works, but if we can get it to, that'd be pretty cool. So we're going to see if we can get that line off, just clean it out the best that we can while leaving it on the car, and go from there. It's just wanting to strip. Oh. It's undone. It's just wanting to take the line with it.
Already break?
No, it ain't broke yet, but it's trying to take the line with the fitting, like I figured it would. I think I'm out of MAP gas. I don't think I have any more MAP gas to where we could heat it. Either that, or I could
Just keep spinning.
go a little more and we could just reflare it, if you think.
Yep.
Think we got enough line there to reflare it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yep, there it went. No big surprise. We're probably going to be dealing with quite a bit of that today. This one we won't worry about so much just because it's so easy to see, and right here it'll be no problem reflaring it, but we get down to those wheel cylinders, we're going to be a lot more careful because we don't want to go replacing those just all day long. You want to get it in it?
Okay.
I'm going to try and just soak up some of what I just sprayed in there. Just trying to get a majority of that rusted crud out of there. That's why we took that brake line off. Really trying not to send that through the entire brake system. We're not going to be able to get the master cylinder 100% clean doing this, but it might give our brake lines and our wheel cylinders just a little bit of a better chance of survival if we can clean this up a little. You know what, Tucker? Let's try and take this whole fitting off. It should unscrew. Just that whole brake sensor fitting and everything off. Hold on. Go again. Holy cow. Wait, hold on a second. It's pumping air. Let me get some brake fluid. I think it's pumping pretty good. We may not have to worry too much about doing much else. And let me get an empty container to catch all this crud. All right. Give her a couple squirts. No, it shouldn't. Nice and long. Nice and slow. Now, I wouldn't consider this an actual bench bleed. Basically, all we're wanting to do here is try and just shove as much of that gunky stuff out of there. We'll get an actual line and put it back into there and actually try and bench bleed it to get it to where there's no air in there. Because right now, him pumping on that brake, I can still tell if there's some air. So... Okay, hold it a second. Oh yeah. That's like forbidden chocolate milk. I had one made out of a metal line, but it's for a bigger line than this will take. So, not a big deal. We have these little rubber ones that'll do just fine. You really just, you just shove them in. You just kind of shove them in and put it right back through the top. Once Tucker gets back over here, he will he'll start pushing on that brake, and we'll just start bench bleeding this thing. If he ever comes back over here. That's not wanting to stay. It's acting like it's got too big of an opening, so we might end up cutting this guy down just a hair. Well, I just messed up.
Too much.
Yep, it took too much. Now it's too big. Look at me go. Just look at me go. Well, let's get the other one, I guess. I'm killing it today. It'll let people know the actual struggle we go through, that we don't know anything.
That we don't know anything.
I mean, it's true. As much as I hate to say it.
Really, everything's just trial and error.
Okay, pump her a couple times. Nice and slow like you were. I'm actually thoroughly surprised that this master cylinder is working as well as it is. I'm super happy too. That's $150 we don't have to spend. Well, as you guys seen, we busted off this line that went into the master cylinder, which isn't a big deal. There's enough there. I think we can just reflare it, but you still got to get that out of there unless you have an extra fitting. So easiest thing to do is just take a drill bit that's the same size, or start out with a little bit smaller drill bit, drill yourself a hole, put the same size drill bit in there. That old line ought to come right out, and you got your fitting that you can reuse right again. Tucker's going to work on flaring that, so that way we can put this fitting back on. While he does that, I'm going to work on coming over to this passenger side well cylinder, breaking the bleeder open. We can see if we can get some juice headed that way. got this thing with brand new tires. You know it?
Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe someone put brand new tires on it and never did anything with it.
I know. Not really even weather checked either.
I'm not a big fan of flaring stuff.
Kind of a pain, ain't it?
If there is some secret trick to it, I definitely don't know.
Well, I think one secret tip is having a good tool.
You don't say.
And we've got junk old tools that have been used for 20 years. Like the flaring tool, like the stubby part of it, like you're supposed to put it out that width, or length, not width.
Well, I definitely had it out more than that this second
You already
time.
put the fitting on, right? Tucker! You put the fitting on before you flare.
I love this.
Have you guys ever wondered why it takes 3 years to get something done?
This is why.
This is why it takes 3 years to get something done. Oh, somehow I seen that coming. Oh, but I wish I didn't.
I'd be lying if I said that was the first time I've ever done that.
So in case you guys were wondering why Tucker was in awe, as you see here, this screws into the master cylinder, and this is the equivalent of what I would consider a banjo fitting. And it was pointed out 90 degrees sideways. Well, I loosened up the nut and turned it down, and I think we're going to be able to use it now. Got this brake bled. Didn't hear no hissing in the lines or anything like that while we went bleeding it. Didn't see no leaking or anything like that. Tucker will go in there and press on the brake while I spin it, but it's holding. It'll hold pressure. Yep, there it went. Off. On. Stopped real good, so we're going to take the dust cover off, just kind of check on the bearings, see if there's anything. It feels really tight, and it feels good, so not too much I'm worried about. I just want to kind of get an eye on it, see what it looks like in there. Yeah. No play. Maybe we just fill this old dust cap up with some more grease and plop her right back on there. Okay. We'll get her greased up, throw this dust cap back on there, and give her a fresh new paint job. Back on the passenger front, we got the brakes bled, dust covers off, put a whole bunch of new grease in there. And then we decided just to run the grinder with the wire wheel in here and then just paint it black. We're not calling this rebuilt. We're not calling this new. We're calling it rust prevention and just trying to save what is here. So makes it look just a little bit nicer, but hopefully it lets these parts just last that much longer. So we're gonna go around and do the rest of the car, do all four corners, make sure the wheel cylinders hold up, brake lines are good, no leaking. Give it just a nice little coat of black to try and help save on it a little bit longer, and we'll be back shortly.
We got all the brakes working. Surprisingly, all the lines and bleeders all came loose and didn't break, and they're not leaking. We got things all painted up on all four. We're kind of letting it dry, and we'll get the wheels back on. Wheel bearings and everything have all been good so far, surprisingly. There's one of the back ones. Cleaned up kind of nice. We're gonna get in here and start figuring out this mess of wires and try to get everything wired up and working.
We've got a lot to figure out here, so we're going to take a brief intermission, get some more figured out. We'll get back with you guys when maybe this spaghetti monster isn't as bad and we've got a better idea. Quick little update here. We are starting to get everything figured out. We have the little cluster in for fuel, oil, alternator, and temperature. That all seems to be working properly, and we're starting to get the monster done. We did, however, break the steering wheel, so we're gonna have to do something there. But tail lights are wired, headlights, park lights are all wired. Oil sender, temp sender, everything is getting there. We still need to do the brake, a little bit with the alternator, but hopefully here before long, we can get the dash in, the speedometer in, and we can check lights all around the car, and we can get this wrapped up. Calling it a night. I know you can't tell from the great bright lights, but it's like midnight. We have absolutely just wore ourselves out trying to figure out somebody else's wiring mess in here. We did manage to get headlights, park lights, running lights all working. The temperature sender works, generator, oil light, maybe fuel gauge works, we don't know. There's probably not a lot of fuel in there, so it may be reading right, it's on E. But we're gonna call it a night, hit the hay, try to get a couple hours sleep, try to get back out here as early as we can tomorrow morning, see what else we can get done. So we'll see you guys in the morning. Sunday afternoon, back out here on the 54. It's a little wet today, but things are starting to look up. The floor is clean and clear. We did find a rust hole over there in the corner and one under here underneath the little skid plate, but we have got it figured out. It's still a little bit of a mess, but we have got everything working. Ended up breaking the steering wheel in the process of getting it off, and we broke the light switch. Both of them were old and used. It happens. It just happens on these old vehicles. So today, we're just going to give you guys a quick little light show. Okay, Tucker's got the blinker going already, so that's a good sign. Let's try and hit some low beams. There we go. How about high beams? Broke that switch, so we're just kind of jumpering everything. There's some high beams. All right. And we already got driver side blinker. Let's try some passenger. There's passenger. All right. Come around here, we'll get a quick brake light check. Now we did find we do have a brake light down and out. be the passenger side, but okay, we got a malfunction on a brake light we got to figure out. But all in all, everything seems to be working all right. Here's the cluster and all we were able to get there. Oil light, temp light, everything seemed to be working good. So, well, not as much done, not as long as a video. Got 2 guys, a carport, and some hand tools. But make sure you tune in next week. We got some rocker panels coming. We're gonna patch the floor. Parts are already ordered for the dimmer switch, headlights, hopefully a steering wheel. So that way we can get that all wrapped up, tidied up. And just be sure to tune in, so that way you can finish watching the process and the progress on the 54 Mainline.